In the bustling city of Enugu, a young woman named Amaka was the pride of her family. Tall, beautiful, and well-educated, she had many suitors, but she turned them all down, especially the ones who were struggling financially. "I cannot suffer in marriage," she would tell her mother, Mama Ifeoma. "Love is sweet, but money makes it sweeter." Her friends admired her high standards, while some secretly thought she was too materialistic. Among her rejected suitors was Obinna, a humble but hard-working man who worked as a mechanic. He had professed his love for Amaka, but she laughed. "How can I marry a man whose hands are always covered in grease? I need a husband who wears suits, not overalls." Obinna was heartbroken but vowed to prove himself. He left Enugu for Lagos, where he worked tirelessly, saving and investing wisely. He studied the automobile industry, attended business seminars, and slowly built his empire from the ground up. Meanwhile, Amaka continued to reject men she felt were beneath her. Then one day, she met Chigozie, a charming businessman who drove the latest cars and dressed in designer clothes. He showered her with gifts, took her to the best restaurants, and promised her a life of luxury. She finally agreed to marry him. The wedding was grand, and for the first few months, Amaka lived in bliss. But soon, cracks began to show. Chigozie was rarely home, and rumors spread that his wealth came from fraud. At first, she ignored them, convincing herself that envious people simply wanted to ruin their happiness. But then one fateful evening, her world came crashing down. Chigozie was arrested for a multi-million naira scam. Their properties were seized, and Amaka was left with nothing. Shame filled her heart as she moved back to her parents' house. The same people who once envied her now whispered behind her back, some even openly mocking her misfortune. She avoided social gatherings, too embarrassed to face those who had warned her against prioritizing wealth over character. One afternoon, while in town, she saw a familiar figure stepping out of a sleek black SUV. It was Obinna. Gone was the young mechanic in overalls. He was now the owner of a thriving automobile business, employing dozens of people. Dressed in an elegant tailored suit, he exuded confidence and success. Her heart pounded as she approached him. "Obinna," she called softly. He turned, his expression unreadable. "Amaka," he greeted politely, his voice steady and distant. She forced a smile. "You look well. Life has been good to you." "Yes, it has," he replied, glancing at his wristwatch as if he had somewhere important to be. A woman soon walked up to him, wrapping her hand around his arm. She was stunning, elegant, and exuded a quiet grace that made Amaka's heart sink. Then she noticed something else. The woman wore an engagement ring. Obinna had moved on. Amaka struggled to find words. I'm happy for you." "Thank you," he said with a nod before walking away, his fiancée smiling warmly at Amaka before following him. As she stood there, watching them leave, a painful truth settled in her heart. She had been chasing wealth instead of true character. She had rejected a man with potential, only to watch him become the kind of man she had always dreamed of. But life had moved on, and so had Obinna. That night, Amaka lay in bed reflecting on her choices. Her mother had always warned her that riches could come and go, but a good man's heart was priceless. Now she finally understood. But some lessons come too late. And so Amaka learned the hard way that sometimes the poor man you reject today might be the rich man you admire tomorrow. But by then, he may no longer be within your reach.